That is the way it's going to happen. So if you kill somebody and the person is floating in the comatose, in the spiritual realm, and you also die, be certain that that dead person will be attracted to you who killed by way of the magnetism that prevails between the two of you. Spiritually, and this is factual, spiritually, there is no such thing as an accident. At least an accident that terminates in death. There is nothing like that spiritually. But because we're in the physical world, that's why we say it's an accident. No. The life of any person in its ultimate length is ordinarily decreed before birth. How long somebody can stay on earth in this physical embodiment, that life is determined in the spiritual world. But there are certain points of life where there is, as it were, a parting of the ways, where certain opportunities for growth are placed before us, which we may take or not take. Where there is failure to utilize opportunities, the life runs into a blind alley and terminates shortly afterward. That is how it is. So those who continue to miss their opportunities, you don't create the opportunities. The opportunities come to you. What you may not say is by accident, what you may not say is by chance, but it's something that has already been worked out in the spiritual world. And we are required to make use of those opportunities properly. But if we continue to misuse those opportunities, there comes a time that something will have to take place. We needed to be withdrawn from this physical world because we have abused all the opportunities that we've been given. So we need to be alert. That, however, is not usually the case in an accident. But there are many certain reasons. There are always reasons which make it desirable that the person should be cast out of his or her body in a violent manner. So there are always reasons why something like that should happen. Such a person is in the same position as all others who die. That person will go through the same process. If you die through an accident or you are murdered by somebody, but there is a little difference which we'll be explaining. Generally speaking, when the person leaves the present world as a result of an accident, he or she thinks of himself or herself as being disfigured by that accident in a certain manner, perhaps minus a leg or an arm or with a fracture in the head. It is not an inconvenience to the dead at all. He or she can still move about easily without arms or legs. Once taught, because there are always people there teaching the new arrivals, the new people who have entered the spiritual world through death, there are people who are teaching them how to adjust and live accordingly in the spiritual world. So once that person is taught to think of being whole, immediately it will happen, to show the tendency of thought to shape the desired body. The case of the victim of a murder, like the case of a suicide, is different. If somebody is murdered, the person's case is different. A human being, on account of divine nature, is the only being who has the prerogative of causing disorder in the scheme of evolution. Human beings, we are the only ones because we have free will. We are made in the image and after the likeness of God. And we are the only ones who can cause disorder. So, as a result, such a person may end his or her own life by an act of will. In a similar vein, such a person may end the life of another fellow before the person's time has come to leave the physical world. Such happens. The suffering of the suicide will also be the suffering of the murdered. The one who committed suicide, the process that he will go through, the process that she will go through, is the same as the process that the murdered person will go through, because the archetype is still alive. So the person will keep on, or the archetype will keep gathering materials, which will be impossible for the dead to assimilate. We are alive because our archetypes are gathering materials, which is helping us to live day by day. But when the person is dead, the archetype will still be working, but there is no physical body. The one who committed suicide, there is no physical body. And the one who was murdered, there is no physical body. But in the case of the victim of a murder, there is a difference here. And the difference is due to the intervention of the higher beings. They make sure that the one who was murdered does not suffer. Unlike the one who committed suicide, that person suffers. And how is that intervention done? You will see the one who has been murdered floating in the etheric region, in the desire world of this earth planet. But the one who has been murdered is in a state of comatose. So the person does not know of any suffering for the length of time that he or she should naturally die. So if you kill somebody, make sure or be certain that that person will get back to you after you have also left this physical world. It will happen. That is the order. If the murderer is brought to justice and suffers capital punishment, the magnetic attraction will bring the murderer together with the victim who is floating in comatose in the desire world. That is the way it's going to happen. So if you kill somebody and the person is floating in a comatose in the spiritual realm and you also die, be certain that that dead person will be attracted to you who killed by way of the magnetism that prevails between the two of you. The victim will constantly remain before the murderer's gaze. And that is really a much more severe punishment than any which will mete out to the murderer, than any other punishment that humanity can mete out to the murderer, in the sense that the one who was killed is always before the gaze of the one who killed him or her. And let us not think that when somebody dies, that ends it. No, they are more active in the spiritual world. But the one who was murdered, being in the state of comatose, will not even know that he or she is appearing before the gaze of the one who murdered him or her. Do the dead keep watch over us? Let's look at this question. Do mothers look after their children after death?
Filling up every space, no privacy. And silently, it could build and build until you finally see. Whoa, it's taking over, damn no closure, moving closer. No exposure, I just wanna be a loner. Some can't stay sober, looking over.